This is your before and after story, where your first steps towards a new life-changing career begin. Southeastern College can take you there. We offer in-demand hybrid and online programs with hands-on training, led by in-field career professionals, and career services to put you on the path to a rewarding and fulfilling future. This is where your transformation begins. Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sec.edu to get started.
Calaroga Shark Media.
From Albania, where luxury and weapons go hand in hand, this is Ballot.
That's right, but at least they don't have any killer bees. Let's hit this. I'm Patrick Gutfield, and Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner are investing $1.4 billion to turn an abandoned Soviet weapons base in Albania into a luxury resort. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think romantic getaway, the first thing that comes to mind is definitely a former weapons facility. Nothing sets the mood quite like, honey, let's book that place where they used to store nuclear warheads. The resort's slogan is probably going to be, come for the Mediterranean views, stay because the radiation gave you superpowers. And they're calling it an extraordinary retreat for the wealthy and privileged. Oh, good, because what the world really needs right now is another place where rich people can isolate themselves from reality. Although, to be fair, if you can afford to vacation at a former Soviet weapons base, you're probably already pretty detached from how normal people live. The timing here is just chef's kiss perfect. The Albanian government gave preliminary approval in January. That's just days before Ivanka's dad got inaugurated for his second term. What a remarkable coincidence. I'm sure the fact that her father is now actively working with foreign governments had absolutely nothing to do with this approval. The Albanian officials were probably just really impressed by their PowerPoint presentation. Kushner and the Albanian government both insist there's no conflict of interest here. Right, and I'm sure when the inspector showed up to evaluate the project, they didn't even notice the Make Albania Great Again hat he was wearing. But you have to admire the ambition. Most people look at an abandoned weapons facility and think environmental hazard. These two look at it and think spa weekend. They're probably planning to turn the old missile silos into infinity pools. Welcome to our underground bunker suites. Bulletproof walls included at no extra charge. This is one of several projects involving Trump family members and foreign governments. At this point, the Trump family international business ventures are like a global scavenger hunt. Except instead of finding items, they're finding countries willing to approve their real estate deals. So after nearly 4 decades, Paris police have finally recovered the bust of Jim Morrison that was stolen from his grave back in 1988. The 300-pound sculpture by Croatian artist Mladen Mikulin was discovered during an unrelated financial corruption investigation, which raises so many questions I don't even know where to start. First off, who steals a 300-pound bust from a cemetery? That's not exactly a grab-and-go operation. You need a plan, probably a truck, and definitely some very committed friends. Hey, want to help me commit a felony that'll require us renting a U-Haul? The bust was installed at Père Lachaise Cemetery in 1981 for the 10th anniversary of Morrison's death. For those keeping track, Morrison died at 27 in a Paris bathtub in 1971, joining that unfortunate club of rock stars who couldn't make it to 28. Now, a Paris tour guide says putting the bust back would attract so many Morrison fans that the cemetery couldn't handle the crowds. Which is saying something, considering Père Lachaise is already home to Oscar Wilde, Marcel Proust, and Edith Piaf. Apparently, dead rock stars draw bigger crowds than dead writers. Who could have predicted that? The theft happened during Morrison's cultural renaissance in the late 80s, right before the Oliver Stone movie The Doors came out in 1991. Perfect timing, really. Nothing says cultural moment quite like grave robbing. One visitor who saw the grave 40 years ago remembers people partying there, smoking, dancing, music, the whole thing. She brought strawberries to share with everyone, because nothing says honoring a dead poet quite like turning his final resting place into a tailgate party with fruit snacks. Morrison co-founded The Doors in Los Angeles in 1965, burned Bride and Brief, then moved to Paris where he died under mysterious circumstances. No autopsy was required by French law, which has only added to the decades of speculation and mystique surrounding his death. So now the question is, will they put the bust back? And if they do, will they need crowd control for a cemetery? Only in Paris would recovering stolen grave art become a potential tourism crisis. Killer bees are spreading across America, and they're apparently holding grudges. These Africanized honeybees have now conquered 13 states and are slowly working their way north, presumably checking off items on their terrify humans to-do list. In just the past 3 months, these bees have managed to kill a man mowing his lawn, send 3 people to the hospital, chase hikers for a full mile, and murder 3 horses with thousands of stings. The horse owner said the bees didn't give up, which sounds less like insect behavior and more like a really persistent door-to-door salesman. These bees will follow their victims for up to a mile, even chasing cars and trucks. They're basically the Terminator of the insect world. Come with me if you want to live has become run away if you want to live, and also maybe consider moving to Alaska. Scientists explain that this aggressive behavior is actually a defense mechanism, which is the academic way of saying they're not trying to be jerks. They're just really, really good at it. Regular honeybees might send out 5 to 10 scouts when disturbed. Africanized bees send out 50 to 100, which is the difference between getting a polite knock on your door and having the entire extended family show up for an intervention. It's like the queen bee is some maniac who wants to make bees great again. These bees are so sensitive to threats that they'll attack if you're mowing your lawn several houses away, which is to distract you from whatever went down on Bee Sting Island. The lethal dose for bee stings is calculated at about 9 stings per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 150 pounds, half the people who get 1,350 stings might die. With regular bees, that's highly unlikely. With killer bees, that's apparently Tuesday. One man in Ohio survived 20,000 bee stings in 2022, but only after being put in a medically induced coma. 20,000 stings! That's not an attack. That's a full-scale military operation with air support. The truly frustrating part? These bees exist because of a scientific oops moment. Back in 1956, a Brazilian geneticist was trying to create better honeybees by breeding African bees with European ones. A year later, 26 Africanized queen bees were accidentally released into a nearby forest. That's not an accident. That's the origin story for every monster movie ever made. If you encounter these bees, experts recommend running away as fast as possible. Don't jump in water, don't swat at them, just run. Pull your shirt over your nose and mouth and sprint like you're being chased by, well, killer bees. Portions of today's show were made with the help of AI and bees.
You can call me James. I spent 23 years designing aircraft that officially don't exist for agencies you think TV made up. Until I started asking the wrong questions. Navy ships are recording objects moving at impossible speeds. Infrastructure is failing in coordinated patterns. The moon looks smaller than it did 10 years ago. None of this is a coincidence. The official explanations don't add up. This is Paranormal Aliens, where we connect the dots they don't want connected. If you're hearing this, you know where to get podcasts. Follow Paranormal Aliens. New episodes weekly until they shut me down.
Hey, my name is John Podhoretz. I'm the host of the Commentary Magazine Daily Podcast. We try every day to give you a sense of where America is, where the world is, where Donald Trump is, where the Democrats are, where the Republicans are, where American society is and where it's headed. Lively, significant, important topics of discussion. Please subscribe, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find podcasts, the Commentary Magazine Daily Podcast.